everyone, welcome to today's video. And today we are in a location which is rumoured to be perhaps the inspiration for J.R.R. Tolkien with his Hobbit and Lord of the Rings stories. So we are looking for Tolkien's ring, so let's see if we can find it in this location that is not always open to the public. So we're here on the day when it is, so we thought, you know what, we're going to head down and explore. So grab your coffee, let's go on an adventure. Yeah, so some say this location here in Gloucestershire in the UK may well have been the inspiration for J.R.R. Tolkien's stories. Now, the reason behind this is because he's been here. And there's a lot of similarities and connections that you can kind of draw conclusions from. So the first thing we're going to look for is a Roman temple. So this is somewhere around about the 2nd, 3rd centuries, I believe. So very short-lived temple, but the history here goes back much, much further. So the history here goes back, there's things here way before that. But yeah, Roman temple is the first thing we're looking to find. It's up a very steep hill. So let's go and find it. It is so nice here. You just about see some cars disappearing in the distance. But there's a hill opposite us, which I think might have been a hill fort, but it's where the house sits on top for this estate. So I think it's part of the Bathurst family. They bought the estate, so there's a huge estate here. And I do know there's a coffee shop at the end as well, because there's a place called Taurus Crafts that we're going to explore. But I can certainly see why they would have built a Roman temple up here, because the views, without the trees, across England would have been magnificent. My gosh, have you seen the size of this tree? This thing is massive. Look at it, I can't even hug it. I bet that's got a few stories to tell. It's been here for a few years, that's for sure. Wow. Yeah, make a nice little tree house up there as well. I wonder if I could climb it. Right, so I think we're coming up to the top here now. So this probably was the location of the hill fort because it's perfect for it. And I can see the Roman ruins here on my right. But yes, nice flat on top of this hill, on top of this rock. Great views all the way around into the valleys. And it would have been across the Forest of Dean and across England. Right, so here we are. We can see some of the Roman ruins of the temple here on the ground. But I think as we look at the map, over here we can see that this is the bit we can see over the ground. But there's a much, much larger area with bathhouses, gates, guest house. Interestingly, Roman mines, iron workings, and a few other things. So yeah, I'm starting to see why Tolkien could have taken inspiration from here. So I think we found the bathhouse. That's over in this direction here. That would have had stunning views, wouldn't it, if it was open? So we're up in this section of the area, and it gives a kind of a bigger idea of how big this place would have been with their furnaces to warm it all up, the various different rooms that they would have had, underfloor heating, changing rooms. Yeah. It in itself is a major thing in the Roman times. So maybe not quite the scale of the Roman baths in Bath itself, but certainly a very prestigious bathhouse to have had up here. We're not talking a little bathtub in the middle of nowhere. We're talking something quite major and expensive here. So you can see down here they've piled up these tiles just to give you an idea of how it would have been. So the floor we see now wouldn't have been the floor of the time. That would have been where the underfloor heating would have travelled, and the floor would have sat on top of these tiles here for the bathhouse. So we may well have an entrance to a mine here. I'm not sure because they fenced that off, and that usually indicates that maybe the ground's a bit unstable. There is supposedly a mine that goes into the sides of the hillside, which might be over in this direction. so we can't necessarily see it, although there's a path through there, so I might take a little wander. And that was quite unusual because most mines were actually open cast, so they weren't actually into the hillside or anything like here. But these particular Roman mines were quite rare in this country because for an iron mine, they actually went into the hillside quite a few hundred feet. So yeah, it's quite unusual here. And this may have been one of the reasons why it's got a little bit of linkage to J.R.R. Tolkien, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, I can't see anything now. It's all very overgrown though, and it could actually be a little bit further down there because you can see it's quite a steep sort of little drop down. We've got where we've parked the car in this field over here, and then we've got the other hill fort, which I've just had a look on the map, and there is another old hill fort there, as well as this one here. So, not sure if I found the mine down here, but there's certainly, this could just be an excavation of how they dug into the hillside to have a look, but there's certainly a man-made kind of channel in there. But I'm not going to go down there because if there's a mine, it could be unstable and it's not signposted, so we're probably not supposed to. So, what is the link to J.R.R. Tolkien, you might ask? Well, he visited this site. He was invited down here by a guy called Mortimer Wheeler, who was an archaeologist, and he was in charge of doing a dig of this site back in 1928. Now, he invited Mr. Tolkien down here, or Professor Tolkien, because he was at Oxford and he was a professor in Anglo-Saxon. So in other words, he could read Anglo-Saxon stuff. He knew the language. He also knew other languages. So he could read things like tablets and that kind of stuff. So he was brought here, and he actually had a little piece in the eventual papers that were released in 1932. Looks like another remnants of digs. We've got some wall structure here going down the side, and then some flooring. Must have been fascinating to be an archaeologist back then, looking at all this stuff, trying to work it all out, and obviously using people like Tolkien to, you know, build on the archaeology to give you the answers you're looking for. I think now we're coming to the edge of the boundary of the hill fort. You can see there's a gateway through here, so it's probably as far as we'll go because there's some very ornate gardens we want to go and look at while we're down here. Yeah, so I think maybe we'll head down to those gardens now, and then I'll continue my story about Tolkien, because it's then that it takes a little bit of a twist and some of the theories come into play. Now, one thing I probably should mention, which is kind of a little bit of a clue, is this area, this hill, is called Camp Hill. Okay, so it's been known as Camp Hill by the locals for quite some time. However, Tolkien, being a person of Anglo-Saxon linguisticity, if that's a real word, he found out that actually the name of this hill is Dwarf Hill. Interesting. Dwarf Hill, eh? Iron mines, dwarves. Tell you what, the water looks really clear here because it comes around this stream before the gardens, but yeah. Oh, look at that lovely dragonfly. But it's very red, very, very red. So you can tell there's definitely iron in this water. It's definitely coming through some iron caves, iron ore, all that kind of stuff, and leaving its redness behind. Rusty water. Now, I wonder if this entrance to the garden was here when Tolkien was here, because I'm not saying that's very Middle-earthish and, you know, two statues greeting you as you come through or anything like that. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Is that inspiration for Middle-earth? I feel like I'm in Rivendell now. Ooh, stepping stones. It is so lovely here. I think we've just missed the rhododendrons by probably a few weeks, as you saw in our previous videos when we were in Bodmin Garden. If you haven't seen that, go and check it out. But yeah, I think we've missed the rhododendrons by a little bit. most of the flowers, but still looks amazing here, doesn't it? Now we want to go that way, but the stepping stone's that way, so yeah, can't resist a stepping stone. It's a bit wet. See where they go. Looks like we found some rhododendrons that aren't quite over yet, probably because they're in the shade quite a lot of the time. So, we know Tolkien was here. We know he's an Anglo-Saxon expert, professor no less at Oxford, and he wrote about it here. We know this place was called Dwarf Hill back in Anglo-Saxon times, but there's more to it than that. There's another connection here, which some say is why Tolkien came up with a story, and the bit that links us is that one ring. Wow, isn't this beautiful? This pink carpet from the rhododendrons in an oldly worldly wood. Looks amazing. So yes, the one ring brings us all together, connects us all, whatever it is. Anyway, so one of the things that was found here at the Roman temple was what is known as a curse tablet. Now this, when translated, and again you could probably look at in various different ways, different languages, but essentially talks about a ring that was from here that was stolen, and there's a curse put upon it that could only be lifted when the ring came back to here. So that kind of sounds familiar. Now the actual ring has been found, and it was found in the Roman town of Silchester, which is over in Hampshire, I think it is. Maybe I'll look it up and put it up for you guys, but yeah, quite away from here. It was originally found, and it had an inscription in it, and it had been re-inscribed with something else. So rings, inscriptions, yeah. So you could, if you wanted to, put all this together and say that maybe this is the inspiration for Middle-earth. It's certainly got a little bit of Shire about it. It's certainly got some of the woods about it. It's got the mines. There's also a lot of folklore around here about not only dwarves, but also, you know, other folk tales and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can see where it might get inspiration for you if you're an author and wanted to put some things together. So what does Tolkien say about all this? Well, I believe the only bit I could actually find about it, and maybe you can tell me in the comments if you know anything different, but Tolkien basically said, yes, the ring was round, and that's where the similarities end. So he's kind of saying that maybe that's not his inspiration for it, but maybe he's just keeping that hidden secret, because there does seem to be a lot of similarities. And, you know, I think authors find inspiration from many different places. So who knows, we'll probably never know. But it's a fascinating story that this place, Lydney Park here in the Forest of Dean, could have inspired some of his original thoughts, maybe his initial sparks of what Middle Earth could be, with dwarves and goblins and mystery and stolen rings and returning them back to their origins and woodlands and lakes, and you tell me. Have a go in the comments and let me know what your thoughts. Is this Middle Earth? Is this the inspiration for Tolkien, or is it somewhere completely different? Who knows? Anyway, I think we're going to go and get a coffee now, because I know connected to here is a place, well, it's actually not connected here, but the exit of here is a place called Taurus Crafts, somewhere I've been before, and they do serve some lovely coffee in there and some amazing cake. And I know that because I was there last weekend and we had some. But there's also a brewery there, so what should we do? Brewery coffee? I'd have to rename the channel though, wouldn't I? So when you exit the gardens, this is where you come out, Taurus Crafts. So it's an amazing little craft place, lots of craft shops, and of course a good coffee shop. Well, you can't have an adventure without some coffee, so yeah, what a way to end up. What a great little adventure, what a great little estate. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Would you come here? Do you think it's Tolkien's Middle Earth? I don't know. So thanks for watching anyway. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's free, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.